1, setting up.
Looks good.
Setting up. It's going live, and we're going to make sure that we are live. There we are. And we've got everybody on. You guys should be able to share on your page now. And did you? There we go.
Yeah, I should have shared.
Excellent.
The public one.
All right. And it's like getting the rocket ready.
Yeah.
All right.
Blast off.
Excellent. We've blasted off. Greetings and welcome to my show called Psychic Mediums Live. I'm your host, Kevin Paul. I'm an international psychic and medium. I'm an educator, writer, and speaker on all things paranormal. I do private readings either in person or remotely these days. And then I'm also the creator of the Academy of Real Magic, which trains students to develop their abilities and to do it on demand. And my mission really is to help others learn, heal, and grow. So on this show, we're going into the world of the paranormal with my guests from the Night Terror Collective team from Fort Smith, Arkansas. And folks, please ask your questions in the comments section, and we'll get to them after our interview. So welcome, folks. Welcome, team.
Hey, guys.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
We've got folks all over the place. We've got in their homes tonight, and I'm just really happy to have them part of my show. I'd like to everyone to go around and introduce themselves and tell us what your role is on the team and why you got into this. So we're going to go and start with the founder, Jason Walker.
Hey, gang. My name is Jason Walker. I founded the Night Terror Collective back in 2018. And it was just for a love of all things paranormal. And just always curious about things I saw as a kid and things I couldn't explain. Being around where I grew up, there was all kinds of lore and everything that just surrounded me, and I just wanted to know more and more about what happened. And my mother used to just push me into really getting this thing started. And after she passed away, I really dove into it, and it became just a process of getting everybody together, getting the correct name, the logo, all that good stuff. And it just kept growing and growing, and had like an audition kind of deal. And here's the gang, and we've been together ever since day one. And I think we have a really great team.
Wonderful. And the next person, Rhonda, tell us about your role on the team, why you got into this.
Well, I knew Jason since 2011, I believe. We used to work together where he works currently. We worked together for about 5 years, so I've known him since then. And I knew Sean already. When he showed up, I was kind of excited that someone else I knew showed up the first day that we all met to form a team. Myself, since I was young, I don't know exactly what age, but even from what my mom told me, age 3, I had strange, like unexplainable things that happened, I guess, or experiences. But my mom really wasn't one to welcome that kind of thing, and be public about it. So she would just kind of be like, people are going to think you're crazy. So let's just be normal. And it just always kept reoccurring. I did kind of hit a peak, I guess, in high school where she actually started buying me things to help me, I guess, tap into, whatever the paranormal realm is. And then for a while, I kind of turned it off, especially when I joined the military in 2010. And a couple of years ago, some strange things started happening because 3 members of my family passed away all within a short span of each other. And some really strange occurrences happened when they passed away, all back to back. And I just thought that was like the universe winking at me saying, here's your chance, just, let the floodgates open. And that was 3 years ago. So I've gotten back into it and tried to I guess, reawaken everything from my oldest memory.
So this,
So-
you're the sensitive on the team, right?
Who is?
I'm probably really sensitive, but I'm not the only person. Like when you work in this stuff, everyone becomes a sensitive in a way or whatever. It just depends on how much you practice on it and you exercise the muscle of it. Then you get more and more and more sensitive.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
yeah.
How about you, Sean? Tell us about who you
Go to
are.
Rick.
What do you do, and why did you get into all this crazy stuff?
Go to Rick, because I'm still driving.
All right. All right. Looks like you're flying around the earth there. So, Rick,
I'm trying.
tell us about who
Yeah,
what your job is and why you got involved with all this crazy stuff.
well, I guess you could say I'm the old man of the group. I myself have been doing it between 15 and 20 years, and I've been in 30 states. But Jason and I had known each other, and we got to talking one day about getting together with people that know what's happening. And sure enough, the collective came about, and we love the name, and it's getting more and more popular amongst fans. I think at last count we had 3,700 members through our group page, and but since way back when I was a little kid, and that was a long time ago. But I remember the first time it really reared its head was when my grandfather passed away, and we had gone out there to see him. And the next morning, the girls and the aunts and all that were all freaking out because they shut the windows. He always liked them open. And sure, life just kept opening. And I thought, everyone then said it's his spirit, But ever since then, I've been just so inquisitive about the situation and everything about it, from disembodied voices to the EVPs and that sort of thing. And so I started doing it more and more and more. And I mean, we've got 2 truckloads of equipment, the latest in electronics, which really it's a game changer nowadays, But I've always loved it. I've been to the Waverly Hills Sanatorium over in Kentucky. I've been to the Crescent Hotel many times over, Edwards Mansion, Winchester House, California, Gettysburg. And every time I do it, it's just like the first time I do it. That excitement is always going to be there when you hit pay dirt. And we've done that many times over. I've actually felt it myself a few times over where, like for instance, my first disembodied voice was at the Crescent Hotel. I'm walking in the door and this spirit had her mouth right by my ear because I could feel the hairs moving. She said, "Clean this place up." I don't know which shocked me more, the fact she wanted cleaned up or the fact she spoke to my ear, But that's the kind of thing that you're never going to stop looking for the answers, We don't have all the answers, but we sure would like to. And the more we can communicate with the other side, the more that's going to happen. It's a science for us. We love what we're doing. And if someone says, "You want to go," he isn't finished saying it. We go, "Yes, we're there," But the group of the core members, I love them all. They're just great people. We work so well together. Everyone knows what their deal is. I'm pretty much a techie guy, but a lead investigator with Jason. And I have, you name the equipment, we've got it. And I think that you do a better job when you have those pieces of equipment. Of course, Rhonda, she's picking up stuff all the time, but when you have that, it's like I say, game changer, buddy. We see you now, And I actually caught one in my own living room the first time I tried the SOS, and I found an extra ghost here. I knew there was an old woman here, but this guy was in there. And we were talking about it, and I saw my recorder turn on. I picked it up and play it back, and this other spirit says, "Oh, how are you doing that?" He wasn't real happy about it, but it was like, okay, we got 2 ghosts in my house now, but they don't bother you. I'm not afraid of them. And if you're going to get hurt, you'd already be hurt. So a lot of people want to read in negative feelings because they don't understand it. If a person's never had an encounter, they're always going to say, "Oh, it felt dark to me," or "it was a demon," and it's not the case.
Right.
So,
Well, great. Sean, tell us about you've stopped orbiting around the earth. You're
Yes, I have.
whatever orbit. So tell us about who you are, why you got into it, and what you do on this team.
I'm the newbie. I'm also the cameraman. I don't like being on camera. I like being behind the camera.
You look great on camera.
Yeah, he does.
I got into this because I've always been a little different. I've noticed certain things
so?
that other people didn't notice.
There's no way.
Like what?
Oh, we love
What are some things you noticed that other people didn't?
I grew up Pentecostal, very religious.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had encounters with angels where they've told me stuff. And if it hadn't been for some of the things that I was told, I couldn't explain a lot of the things that's happened in my life. So
You've had some paranormal experiences growing up, it sounds like.
yeah.
I think we all kind of have. I certainly have myself.
Right.
I want to welcome the team. And Jason, why did you guys come up with the name, the Night Terror Collective? Where did that come from? It's an unusual name.
Yeah, I thought it was very important to separate ourselves from all the paranormal ghost groups or whatever they call themselves. But the collective, it represents everything as far as all things paranormal, Bigfoot, aliens, all of it together. It's all kind of under the same umbrella anyway. So, but I thought of something different to separate us. There's all kinds of paranormal groups out there, and I just didn't want to go along with the flow.
We have to set ourselves apart from all the rest out there. I mean, I understand that. I mean, we certainly we haven't been on television doing what we do, so we really have to work hard at marketing ourselves and getting our name out there and doing those things. I understand. What is your team's investigative goals? When you go into wherever you go, what are your goals? What are your primary goals going in?
To me, it depends on the situation, because residential things, it could be all kinds of things going on as far as anything to deal with kids or just people experiencing like poltergeist activity, and we want to get as much evidence as something there's more after we die, and obviously we want to help as many people as we can. Now Rick, like he explained, he's got the most experience, so he might have something to say about that.
Yeah.
I think everyone's goal is the same. I really do. Communication, right? We want to talk to them. And when that happens, we're successful. So it does happen a lot, too. No doubt about it.
I want to prove it.
Say again?
I either want to prove or disprove that what someone tells us. If they tell us that they have somebody haunting them, then I want to be able to prove it, or show them, prove to them that it's not what it is. But first, you got to prove it to me. So.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm very skeptical even when I do my investigations, and my investigation goals when I do it is not only to to understand what's going on, but to help the living, but also to help the spirits as well. And that's my goal, is to say, okay, what's going on? Why are you here? How can I help you? Is always my first question when I make connection. So it's all important about understanding, and then seeing how we can help either the living who are experiencing the problems, or in this case for me, it's like, how can I help you, spirit? What's going on? Why are you bothering these people? Why are you here? But I mean, it's part of what we love to do, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. When you talk about proving it, that goal of yours has been mine forever too. I'm not a big harasser. I don't think we need to, elevate or whatever a problem. And I think rather than say, I command you under the name of Jesus Christ to talk to me now. Yeah, yeah. And that's not really what it's about. But if you go in there and you say, hey, is there anybody in your life we can contact to tell them you're okay? Things of that nature. And if you can hit that personal little niche or nerve, sometimes you get them to talk to you, and it's always going to be there. That's always going to be the challenge is communicating. And I mean, we've done it in 47 different ways with the equipment and that, but it's that's the goal for everybody. Don't go in and start a fight with them, because I've seen a guy fly across the room doing that crap. But go in there, respect them. Let them know, I respect you. Please don't fear me. We'd like to find out if your family's around. We can tell them you're okay. That sort of thing. And I think it helps. It's another way of going at it. So.
Being a provoker is certainly not my style either. I know it works for some people, and then they ultimately regret it.
Yeah.
Had some bad experiences. So it's like, it's a different style. I always say, respect the energy, see if you can understand the energy. Yeah, I agree. So my question is, why do paranormal folks like to investigate at night?
It's funny. It's funny you say that, because I think that if it's there at nighttime, it's there during the day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it doesn't go away just because it's day or night. It doesn't matter. But I don't know. Maybe it's to add more of the creepy factor to it. Also, maybe to not be disturbed as much
For the
doing what you do.
noise. Yeah.
But
It's
yeah,
quiet.
as far as
A lot less noise.
yeah, spirit being there during the day or night, it doesn't matter. It's there all the time if it's there.
Right. I can certainly walk through a space, in the light and pick up on the energy and not have to worry about tripping on something.
Right.
Right.
But I guess
Yeah.
it is on television. They always do it at night because it's all part of the experience of television, and you're setting up the scene and trying to, be spooky and exciting and get people to continue to watch. So let's see if they can make it through with a flashlight, and their
Right.
camera. I'm like, oh God.
Well, you've heard of the different types of things under that nature, how you do it and what you do, how you get their attention. And it's a wide open deal. You know what I mean? There's things that haven't been tried yet, and I'm sure you and I both are going to do it, right?
Mhm.
I love it.
Yeah, but we've done plenty of investigations during the day. Whether it be
Good.
we even graveyards. We've done some things there, residential places. Yeah, we don't, not at night time. It doesn't have to be at night all the time. Yeah.
No, it does. We've done it during the day, but at night, everyone says, "Oh, the witching hour is 2 a.m."
Yeah.
I've seen it ramp up when it's lightning and thunder outside, or a full moon, or all these things, and you really don't have the answer on which one it truly is. But Jason, you agree there, right? I mean, we take it as we can, and sometimes it comes at us differently.
So
No
how
doubt.
do you guys define the difference between a spirit and a ghost?
The same thing, as far as I'm concerned.
Anybody?
Well,
Great question. I'm curious how people, because this field is, not
For
set.
me, like my personal opinion, for me, a ghost would be something you see in a photo that looks like a human figure, shaped like a human, like in a cemetery that someone has shown you.
Mm-hmm.
And a spirit can be, to me, not a human. Anything that's an essence of something that even may not be human, that could even be an animal spirit that you can feel or not see a complete form of, but you can see some kind of evidence of or speak with.
Mhm.
How about you,
All
Sean?
right.
Like I said, I grew up in the religious beliefs, so the Holy Spirit and the Holy Ghost are pretty much the same thing. So
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I agree. I think a spirit and a ghost. But there's a lot of terms out there. Entity,
it just
all
all,
the
dep-
different ones.
it all depends
Energy.
on
Energy. Yeah. That's a good one.
yeah,
For
Oh,
spirit.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
It's I'll tell you, doing something like that, and the energy is what people always misdiagnose too. And, just because there's energy It doesn't have to be black or dark energy, but you get that a lot anyway. So.
Oh, right. What's the difference between, do you guys make a differentiation between residual energy and active spirit energy?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's definitely that. There is a big difference. But go ahead, Rick. I know you're dying to answer that question.
Gonna wait.
But I always tell people the same thing, that when you find residual energy is like a record player in time. If something happened many times, somewhere down the road, it's going to play again. And the way that I tell people, the way I can tell the difference, the easiest way, is if a spirit walks in front of you and you say, "Hey," and he turns and looks at you, it's not residual. It's an intelligent haunt. Residual is when they walk by you 10 times and they never notice anything. It's just going through the motions they did all those times. We've had extensive experience in both areas with our group. So yeah.
Right. So you guys make that distinction as well, like I do. I typically feel dizzy when I actually am feeling the residual energy, and when it's an active energy, I don't feel dizzy. That's just my way of my sensitivity. That's like, whoa! I literally, when I was doing an investigation at the in last year this time in the Hanoi Hilton out there in Vietnam, and
wow.
through, I was just like, I felt like I was on a ship. I felt like it was whoa, and I thought, okay, there are no active spirits here because no one wants to hang out there. So they are like, they got the hell out. But I just felt the emotion and the energy that was infused into the material, the surrounding, the space of all the dread and the fear and the anxiety. It just made me literally felt like I was on a ship, and I did a little video of that. So it was very distinctive for me. So that's the way I perceive it. And of course, if you can't get an answer back, then it's definitely residual versus active. Active will interact, as you all know. Do this, do that, tell me about, and then they will definitely try to communicate. And sometimes I get those who don't want to talk. I know they're there, I know they're angry, but they just don't want it to communicate with me. And I've had them run from me. Like, okay, where are you going? Why are you going up? Why are you going up into the into the attic? That's your space, your safe space. So
it's not kind of.
And they want to talk. It's fascinating. So tell me about some of your We'll go around. What was your favorite, the most exciting, most amazing experience, that when people ask you, oh, what was the best thing? What is it that you bring up? Rhonda?
I didn't get to stay very long, but probably the first actual investigation that we went to, because it was the first one and we had immediate activity, and I really just had joined the group initially just to investigate, nothing to do with being sensitive or anything like that. Just to investigate, only to prove some answers that I needed for myself about my family that had passed away, like I was saying. But we went to a sanitarium where a lot of people had died tragically from tuberculosis and really sad living conditions when they passed on. The last, years or minutes of their life, they were not very good. And as soon as we went in the building, I was just like really surprised that I looked at the end of a hallway and I saw what I thought and had seen in shows before was a shadow figure. And after we did a walkthrough, I just grabbed Jason and said, let's go to the end of this hallway, because I swear to you, I swear I saw a tall shadow figure walking at the end of this hallway. And when we went to the end of that hallway, we did get, we took the REM pod and we had activity with the REM pod. We also took an obelisk and we had activity with the obelisk, and then made communication with what identified itself as, and I believe that it actually was a young boy that was 7 named Joshua, whose spirit resided there. And he said that he was also scared to communicate because there was a shadow figure there with him. That was probably my favorite one, because it was the first, and it was just like, so I guess eye-opening, because it was the first place that we had gone to, and I hadn't ever been on an investigation before, and it was like immediate.
Hmm.
Fall in love.
How about you, Jason? What's your favorite?
It's really hard to choose.
Like children, right? Like which is your kid?
What's my favorite candy?
It is that way. I think of the Clayton House in Fort Smith, Arkansas. That was pretty cool because we were doing an open investigation there, which when we do open investigations, it's hard to capture evidence because so many people are with us.
Oh yeah.
And they just follow us around, and we show them how we operate our equipment and really what paranormal investigation teams do, not what they see on TV. Because a lot of that's drama. They create that for
And
the show.
edited.
And edited.
Right, editing.
And all of our stuff is live all the time, by the way. We don't edit anything. So if it's boring, it's boring, which a lot of times it is. But sometimes we get some really cool stuff. So what we were doing at the Clayton House is we were in this room. We had a REM pod and an SLS camera. And we were getting activity on both of it. And you could see the spirit interacting with the REM pod, making it go off on the LSS.
Oh, okay.
And then you could just see and hear the REM pod activity. It was so cool to get two forms of evidence. And then I'd pan over and show that where the spirit was nothing there on regular camera, then go back to the SLS camera and then show that we're getting two forms at the same time.
I think we have that evidence you've sent me, and we'll show it in a little bit. I think that's okay. That's the one that you were showing. Okay, we'll definitely show that. How about you, Mr. Sean? What's your most exciting? Like, oh my God, this was an amazing
Information. I told him if he needed to feel some time to ask you more about it than most of us. It's Hell's Gates.
Like Rhonda said, I'm gonna have to go with the one that y'all are gonna bring up later, anyways.
I knew it.
Yeah, Mr. Crawl up the leg.
I actually was going to tell you to just
Okay.
get it over.
We were down in we were at that sanatorium that Rhonda was talking about earlier, and they kept seeing this entity in a chair, kept talking to it, kept trying to get it to come to them and all that. It wouldn't go nowhere. Every time they tried to get their hands close to it, it ran, disappeared. Well, what do? I stick my hand out. It doesn't move. It's a little bit colder. Next thing I know, Rick says that it's climbing up your leg, and about that time, it felt like I walked through some blackberry bushes, and my legs were getting clawed up, scratched up. So I took off. I was gone.
Yeah, he was too. I turned around to Sean. Where's Sean? I don't know. He was off like a dirty
I was
steer,
gone.
boy.
But
Big person, right?
You actually felt the energy on your legs, right?
it lasted until I got probably 30 miles away, and whenever I got out of my vehicle and started walking into the store, that's whenever it went away from me.
Why do you think that was? Why did it stay with you for 30 miles?
I don't know.
I think he was just jonesing for 30 miles.
No, that's not it. Because we went through a lot of other areas of that place after that, and it was still there. It wasn't until I got out of my truck there at Walmart in a completely different town that it actually let go.
Interesting.
I don't know
why.
if it was
I think I
sucked
have an
back. I don't know if it was sucked back to the place because it wasn't supposed to leave the area or not, but I don't know.
Because
We
he
were
entered a
using
different
SOS.
energy field.
Say what, Rhonda?
You know,
Because he entered a different energy field and it wasn't the same energetic vibration.
I wonder
Once
why
he got out.
hang on. I wonder why I wanted to hang on to Sean. Maybe because Sean was giving.
well, I can tell you, I was filming on the SOS, and this thing was in a chair, and we said, "Can you wave?" He waved to us. You know, you see the stick man on the SOS, And I said, Sean, walk over there and put your hand in there and tell me what you're doing. He says, it's real cold, obviously. And what we think is happening is when a spirit's burning energy, they can actually burn the heat out of the air and it leaves cold pockets. But what was funny was I told him, go stand right by the chair. And this entity jumps down from the chair, walks over and standing by him for a minute, and then proceeds to start crawling up his leg. And he did not like that. That was his first physical experience. And man, he, like I say, he was off like a dirty shirt, boy. He was out of there. He's not going to say he's calmed down a lot since then, but you know, we baptismal by fire, right?
So, what was your favorite, Rick?
Oh boy,
Years and
I've been to some of the scariest places like Waverly Hills and Gettysburg, but I typically tell people that I had moved to Arkansas to help take care of family, and I was able to do this because I retired from my regular job back in 2000. And you know, I guess I'd have to say that it was a, believe it or not, Waverly Hills, Winchester, all those. No, they were haunted. There was stuff going on, but I guarantee it was nowhere close to a place that I accidentally ran into here. It was a 12-room boarding house, and I went in with one other person, and I met the guy that was there, and he was refurbishing. And I've never seen so much activity day and night. I mean, in the middle of the day, every drink in the house was tipped up at a 45-degree angle for some reason. I went in there and I was on the landing, and a spirit walked right through me. And that feeling is really strange because you feel that electricity charge on one arm, then the next arm, and then on through you. But this house was owned by Belle Starr's daughter, Pearl. And Pearl, you know, was a prostitute like her mama. And they were using 2 or 3 locations here in Fort Smith, Arkansas. And I got lucky. I ran into that one. And I have yet to find anybody that can make this statement. I went into that basement, and it was stone cold and dark in there, all by my lonesome. I couldn't see the meter in my hand or the recorder. I started asking questions, and I think it was like 24 EVPs that night, just from being in that basement. And that's crazy. You just don't get that many. But you know, I say, you know, what's your name? And a girl says, Tammy. And I went, whoa. And I go, I asked questions. I said, don't you feel bad making these girls do this against their will? And the spirit says, tisk, tisk, tisk. It's like, I can't believe what I'm hearing here, you know? And it went on and on and on, you know? It was just like the gift that keeps giving. So from a haunted standpoint, I'd have to go with definitely the boarding house, the 12-room boarding house.
it's when you least expect it, right? Sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, this place was built in 1902, and I could go in there today and get evidence. Pictures coming out. You wouldn't believe what comes out of that. We set up cameras, and one of them was 12 feet in the air, and a spirit was right in front of it, his face right in front of it, 12 feet off the ground. And it's like, whoa, I love this. That's amazing. You know, that's the kind of thing that turns us on, you know. And no harm, of course, but, you know, the guy that I met, one morning, he says, God, I get up and they're using my energy. I feel nauseous. My head's spinning. And I said, well, do a favor, man. So get off me. And he did it, and they did. It didn't happen. But, you know, most people don't know you have more control than you know, you know. So, but that definitely has memory for me. Gettysburg, you know, Waverly Hills, obviously. But, yeah, pretty cool stuff.
Jason, how do you guys select a location? And you guys do either historical locations, and that's pay to play, versus private homes and places you guys want to go to. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's not really hard to find someone or find somewhere to go around this area as far as residential or somewhere historic. Like I always tell people when they say, "Where's Fort Smith, Arkansas?" You know, if you ever seen the movie True Grit, you know, John Wayne, you know, the kind of explains Judge Parker's courthouse and all that historical significance around that area. But yeah, as far as you know, charging for anything we do like that, we don't. Never. We never have. We never will. Somebody needs our help, we go out. As Rick always tells people, is that if it's kids involved, we're gone. We'll go out there as soon as we can, But as far as anything residential or historic, we've gotten great evidence on both places. So, it's not hard to pick a favorite and those kind of things. I like to do the historical stuff, but I also love helping people too. So it's really tied, I guess, on that kind of thing. But
what's your best debunking experience? Because that's part of what you guys do is you try to okay, how do we debunk this? This, this is not paranormal. This is what have you found some interesting debunking?
Who's the question for?
Okay.
Jason? Okay.
Yeah,
Go ahead, buddy.
Jason and
Rick.
Rick.
Go ahead, Rick.
Well, okay. When it comes to debunking, it starts in the beginning. When people give you their story, you go in and you actually take you around and show you what's happened and this and that. And residential is usually different than a large place like a Waverly or whatnot. But we take the story that they give us and we let them know that we are, it's just a statement until we can prove it. And so I said, it's not a personal thing. I said, they're not circus animals and don't perform on key. But the biggest thing about it is that, you have to get in there. If they say, I woke up and it was at the base of my bed, there's really not a lot you can do except to look in and see if there could be sound from outside or whatever. Some things you can't debunk, but many things you can, whether it be sound, whether it be, come in from another location, whether it be, I have places where they call and it's a kid and we rush out. We don't mess around when it comes to kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny that most of the people that you talk to, the kids, you can tell them, buddy, if it was dangerous, it would already hurt you. And kids are good with that. They're sitting back going, oh, I'm fine. Well, mom and dad aren't. It's hard to calm them down when it comes to that, But the biggest thing is find out what it is that's scaring them and then try and recreate it. If you cannot recreate it, it's just a claim, I'm never going to say you're lying because I know stuff happens, but we have to be able to prove it or disprove it. It's just, that's our job,
Yeah.
Oh,
And then
Jason.
Rhonda does a lot of research on the places we go. So checking the things that happened there in the past, how old the buildings are,
Or interview the person that's making the claim
Yeah.
for personal reasons why something may have either followed them or been there previously before they actually moved in there, or something going on in the home, or is it more than one person seeing or hearing? Is there something, moving or being moved or hidden, or is there scratch marks on them, or do they have audio or video? Is the children and the parents both having different experiences? Because, more than only one thing is the repetition of a claim or whatever from other people is more like clarification that there's actually something going on.
Have you found, Rhonda, like I have when I'm working with a family, that they are natural sensitives? That's why they're picking up or seeing or feeling or hearing. And it's they just don't understand it. And my job is to help them understand what their natural abilities are. That's why they're experiencing it. And then how they can then interact and control and set boundaries and stuff. So you're finding that people are very sensitive. They just don't know it. Yeah, I'm sensing or I'm feeling or I'm hearing or whatever, I'm smelling it, because that is one of your natural sensitive abilities, and you're picking up on it. And guess what? Wherever you may go, you're still going to be picking up on things. So you got to learn how to understand what your natural abilities are. That's what I've learned.
And learn how to kind of protect themselves, because it seems like some people that you'll talk to more than once will tell you that they're being kind of taken over by negative energies when they go places or something like that, because they don't really know enough about it to actually put up some kind of barrier, like you were saying, or boundary for the negative energy.
And
Rhonda anoints us after every investigation too. We don't take chances. We got holy water. We go in there, we want to be safe. If there are any,
Right. I agree. You need to go in protected. And when you finish, I always say, then you've got to close it out as well. It's nice to have
Right.
the beginning and the end. Just it's part of the ritual, the mental, like you disengaging. It's now time for us to disengage, and we're going to do it in a ritual format, and it can be whatever way you want. You could hold hands and spin around in a circle, or hold it doesn't matter. Intention, which is important. Now,
I'd rather be safe than sorry.
Absolutely. And I always tell folks, if tell them to leave you alone. You have to realize you own your space. You own this vibration, and you have more power than they do, believe it or not, in many aspects. What do you guys think about when they talk about demons? I'll tell you what I think. What do you think when people like, oh, we've got demons here?
I think
I'm
people
willing to
are-
get. I'm game.
All right.
Yeah. Go ahead. Tell him, Sean.
I'm game.
I have some theories too. I'll let Sean go first though.
Sean, what do you
I have
think?
some
go ahead.
theories.
Go ahead.
Sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go for it, Ron.
Said anything that's seen as dark, like a shadowy lack of light, or like, the absence of light, a lot of the times, or it makes someone feel uncomfortable or disturbed, or that maybe leaves scratch marks or anything, and might just be from just sheer misunderstanding, gets usually labeled most of the time as demonic activity.
Of the devil, right? Is what they're trying to say. That's
Yeah.
the devil. Okay.
Yeah, which I think is very rare. I don't think it happens like people say it does. It's not the
Yeah,
movies.
it's not always just
demonic
activity. There's
people-
a little
yeah.
bit more like
People are
Devil.
avenues
to say
of darkness.
demons. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I say, in our human life, we know people who are evil, nasty, and they're alive. They're bullies. They're just killers. I mean, they can be anything. I consider that, living demons, meaning we define that behavior as bad. And so a lot of times people just kind of try to understand bad behavior by just calling it of the devil, when I just think it's a bit too.
Or satanic. A lot.
Yeah, you're right. So, you're right. People, again, along that reading negative into it, it was demonic, or if it was a demon, there's a lot of things that happen. The smells, that's one of the biggest giveaways when you're talking about demonic. But it's like microscopic as far as the problem happening, and it depends on where you go. I've been into a place where they had a full devil worship station set up, so you go careful in there, but it isn't necessarily always demonic. That's the thing. So
It may be a negative. It may be perceived as negative, but the spirit may be just a nasty old man when he was living, and he's still there, and he's like, get out of my property. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm going to try to do whatever I can to irritate you. But Sean, I know you come from an interesting background. What do you think about demonic or demon, or people saying, oh, it's demonic? How do you process it?
Well, the bad part is all the demons, for the most part, was a third of the angels that God cast out of heaven. So, are they really demonic? They just don't particularly do the things that we as people think that angels should do. Maybe they lead you a certain way. It's hard to explain.
Right. It's all human. I mean, we've all human defined these things. What's good, what's bad. And
exactly.
Therefore, we've defined this as bad, therefore it is, what demonic.
It's satanic, it's demon, it's witches. And if you boil it all down, there's no difference in the people.
There are a lot of living people who are in that category, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Jeffrey Dahmer, think about that.
Yeah, that's that would be considered, demonic, or bad behavior or negative behavior or whatever. It's just all human defined. I agree.
I think it ultimately has to do with the person's perception too.
How so?
The person could have anything to do with I don't know, like if a lot of people know what, like shadow work is or whatever, your shadow self. If you've been raised a certain way and you follow that and you don't actually question it or look outside of that, like when I was raised and growing up, magic was seen as satanic or demonic or cult activity, when in reality there's good magic, green magic, light magic, white magic, black magic, all different kinds of witches and magic. So they're not all satanic, they're not all demonic.
Right.
If someone to dabble in herbery, that doesn't mean that she's trying to call, say, Satan forth because she wants to make some kind of, like she wants to charge some crystals in the moonlight. So I think the perception can come from anywhere from when you were born up until the moment that you actually see something, the way that you're perceiving it based on your human database, I guess.
Yeah, you know what? I agree with what you said, that if a guy's a butthead in life, he's probably going to be a butthead in spirit. It's just, I've seen it so many times. They want to say, oh, it's demonic just because they scratched you. Hey, it could be anything.
He's
You
just
don't know
trying to
that.
get your attention, and he doesn't realize his own, the strength or ability. And it's like, it just happened to come across as a push or Then my question is now, do you guys, and I've kind of wondered about this as well, I'm going back and forth, thoughts on if a spirit can be stuck, or are they just kind of coming and going at will? Who wants to?
I'll take that.
All right, you go first, Rick.
Okay. Run the question by. I want to hear the whole thing again because there's more to it than that. Go ahead.
All right, you mean to say ask the question again? All right, I'm getting a little dizzy. Where are we going? Where are you taking us? In your...
Rick.
I'm like, whoa.
All right.
There you
we
go.
were out late last night.
All right. All right. So the thoughts on if you feel a spirit can be stuck, or is it that a spirit can just come and go, and when we're experiencing it in that location, we may think that they're stuck, but in fact they're just kind of visiting and then moving on because you're there, you're asking or calling on them. What are your thoughts on the spirit can be stuck or not?
I think it happens. It definitely happens. People get stuck, and if it's a spirit that's not bothering anybody, this and that, you can't necessarily say, that, oh, they're stuck here. We don't know that for sure. You can ask the question, but a lot of people in spirit form stay on the earth, period. We don't know exactly why. You can ask that question day and night, but I think that it's something that's never going to be guessed. We just know it happens, and
so you think the spirits can be stuck, right?
It's usually why.
How about you?
I'm sorry?
How about you, Jason? Do you think spirits can be stuck, or are they coming and going?
Well, I guess that really depends on how they died. Whether it be something tragic like the Holocaust, or somebody died in a car wreck, or if it's just natural causes, maybe they're at peace and they can move on. And of course, everybody says unfinished business keeps spirits here.
I'd say unfinished business, Jason. That's what they say. A lot of times.
Business, or like.
How many times have you heard someone say, my mom died, but when I woke up this morning, she was standing at the base of my bed? I bet I've heard that story thousands of times.
She's just visiting.
It does happen.
It's like she's visiting you,
Yeah. Or they wanted to say goodbye,
Stuck in your living room. She's not stuck. Why would you want to be stuck in your house? Okay. So yeah, that's something that we don't have an answer to, but I was curious how you guys look at it, because I've looked at it possibly it could possibly be stuck, and I thought, well, why would they be stuck sometimes? Like, given the opportunity, they move on to the light, or they move on to heaven, or to a different dimension or a different vibration. It's hard to tell, and we're all just trying to figure it out.
Right.
I think mediums can help them get there, though, right? I mean, I've seen psychics in helping these people move on or help them cross over, and I've heard them say, "Go to the light." They'll say it to them. So I think that the mediums have the capability of helping these people move along. And I wish I was a psychic. I would love that. But you're going to know why they're here. You're going to know all that, because that's an advantage psychics have over us, mere mortals, I guess you say. So.
We just done a little bit more training than
But,
you. That's all. I'm sure we could get you up to speed, Rick. I mean, really, it's true. I mean, you have to train as running a, it's wonderful to have these abilities, but you got to train like you need a good coach. You need to be in the game. You got to practice. You got to make mistakes. You got to have successes.
Mhm.
And that's what I always say. It's like, it's wonderful to have abilities, but I teach students how to develop their abilities. And I've never been able to see anything. Well, you can see the spirit in your mind. That's clairvoyance in your mind. You don't have to see dead granny walking across the room. And I say, being clairvoyant is wonderful, but you can't communicate by just your eyes. You got to be able to feel them. You have to be clairsentient. You got to be able to feel and gather information through other senses. So I always like to teach students, don't worry, you can't see, you don't see a dead spirit walking across it's good, because that will scare the hell out of you normally. When I see a rat running out, in the city here, it scares me a lot. Because it's
Spiders.
but I can sense an angry man in the house, and he's not going to scare me. He's not going to try to present himself in a way. I'm not going to see that visually. I might get a slight image, but I won't see the 12-foot man in the corner, because he's kind of made himself look as scary as possible. It's interesting.
I've been a firm believer for a long time that spirits or ghosts, however you want to refer to them, if you can see them, what you're seeing is how they want you to see them.
How they want to
It may not be how they were in life, but they want you to see them, whether it be two heads, 8 foot tall, real skinny because he was fat, you know what I mean? And I think that is a big part, a big part of what we do. So
I agree. When I'm talking when I do mediumship readings, communicating with your past loved ones, your mother may present herself as when she was younger, because this is the way she liked to be. Like, I liked myself and I felt really pretty when I was in my 20s. So sometimes I'll get that presentation of like, oh, but she's like, oh, she was not that way, but this is the way they want to present themselves. And so I'm picking up on, I'm not seeing it, I'm feeling it. Through feeling and sensing and knowing, you can gather all that information. But they do present themselves.
Is it okay to ask a question to you?
Sure.
When you do sense spirits, I don't know why, most of the time, you were just saying that sometimes they present their stuff in the way that they want to be seen. Have you ever confirmed if a spirit, most of the time I see children, almost all the time. Sometimes it's males, but most of the time it's children. Do you know if sometimes that's just the way they want you to see them as a child and they're not actually a child?
I don't know the answer to that question. I typically, if they're adults and they were, they're going to present themselves as young adults rather than small children.
Yeah.
Typically with small children, who didn't make it to adulthood, is that energy. But no, I don't typically find that, adults would present themselves as children. They would present themselves as the best version of them. I was really, really hot in my 20s, or I really felt, my best in my, that's what I get, versus the old woman who died at 85, it's like,
yeah. Because when I see the children, I feel their innocent, childlike energy. It feels like a child. It doesn't, feel off or anything like that.
You could be picking up on the small energy because, there's energy of all different ages when they were on this earth.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It definitely does. Yeah. I love getting into that because that's a conversation that can go on for hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I mean,
here's a story for you. There was a guy that we were up. They had like I want to say a winter type bed and breakfast type situation. Mm-hmm. Well, someone had died on their wedding day, and it turns out that the husband too. But I mean, when they came into the building, the first thing they saw was this thing that was about 5 foot wide, about 8 foot, and had a face and a face and a face and a face. And I'm thinking, well, maybe he's just trying to scare the crap out of him or something. You know what I mean? I don't know how I'd handle that part. I think that, like you say, they let us see them the way they want us to be seen. I guess that could be true also if they don't want you around. You know how spirits sometimes get out, that kind of thing. I try and honor that, so.
And I've noticed that if we have sensitives and, Ron and I will perceive them differently. This is their energy. We'll get a sense of, but you'll have a different image or a visual or gather information differently. I would quote see them differently than a Rhonda would, or maybe you would.
Yeah,
Others.
I can believe that.
So it's like, it's we're processing.
Like a receiver.
Yeah, we're processing it through our bodies and our experiences and such. And an image of a rose, a red rose would mean something different to everyone, or a yellow rose would mean something different. That's part of imagery. That's how we gather information.
Children.
Voices, or, all those kind of things. So
I wish I was psychic. I mean, sometimes they look at it as it's a nightmare and not a gift. But I've always been one that said, I wish I had those abilities because I'd love it. But
I'm sure I could get you, on the right track, because I feel everyone has some sensitivities. It's like a good athlete. Yeah. You've got some people who are going to be really good at playing basketball. We all be taught to dribble the basketball. We can be taught to run a play, but a natural athlete's going to be able to do it a little better, a little easier. But it's certainly, we're doing it all the time anyway. Oh, I was just thinking about you, and you called. That is using your psychic ability. I always say all mediums are psychic, but not all psychics are mediums. And the difference between the two is psychics we're connecting with energy of the living. So I'm able to connect with your past, your present, and your future, and I can read the energy of a room residually. But mediums are then able to connect with past loved ones and spirits. So there's the difference. A lot of people get that a little confused, but
I just think it's an amazing gift myself. I do. I imagine it's very scary when you first learn to deal with it. I've seen people that feel that way, and I've seen people that embrace it,
If you're a child.
Like they, yeah, and I've always wanted to, wish I had it. But, I mean, for doing it as long as I have, I can walk into a building and tell you right off, oh, yeah, we got something going here, because you can just feel it,
And feeling is, clairvoyance is seeing it with your eyes, visually. With feeling and sensing, that's someone who is a clairsentient. So you are obviously just showing that you are a clairsentient because you sense and feel the energy, and that's the most important clair of all. I don't care if you can see, but if you can feel and sense, you can feel, sense, and know. That is the most important for a psychic or a medium, is that clairsentient ability. So
yeah, that's awesome.
You've got to train yourselves by going into these places and like, so again, part of that training. And when the school in the world is in London, we call it Hogwarts. We go to in England, it's called the Arthur Findlay College. That's where advanced training is for psychics and mediums. But we have to train. We have to get up there and stand in front of the class and give readings of their past loved ones in front of other class. Just like putting.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That's part of the fun.
I'd love to see that.
Oh yeah, we do it. We do it all the time. It's scary as hell. We students are like, oh shit, I got to go to the other class tonight.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh no, and we're all accomplished, but we all everyone gets a little nervous when you have to do something like that.
Stage fright.
So my question is, your favorite TV adventures, ghost adventure show? Ghost Adventures, The Dead Files, The Kindred Spirits. What do you guys like? Because you guys are so it's a little different.
You want
Hoser Files.
Say again.
Hoser Files.
Hoser Files.
Hoser. H-O-E-R Files.
Hoser Files. Yeah, it's a new one.
The style that it's done is a lot different than most others. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I like that too. Different stuff. I mean, listen, Ghost Adventures. Let me just say it in short. Ghost Adventures is a very popular show because he is a showman. And many times, if you pay attention, you'll see they didn't get anything in evidence, but they still turned it into a show. Exactly. And that's why people watch it. You want it to be exciting, And Zach Bagans is a showman. He always was. People like Ghost Adventures crew, Jason and Grant, when they do it, there was many times they didn't get one piece of evidence, and they didn't hide it. They just said, well, we weren't able to prove it, on to the next. And I strongly believe in that. But you get on some shows that, there's a new one out called, him and his sister and a friend are going to haunted places around well, I don't know. I've always had a problem with people who are ghost hunters, and the first sign of a ghost, they freak out and run, I can hear you, Rhonda.
How about you, Sean? What's your favorite?
I don't watch them.
How about you? How about you,
I
Jason?
don't watch them.
My opinion on them are that like Rick said, they do things for a show.
Mhm.
They do a bunch of like drama stuff and things that necessarily don't happen. But like you said, it's a TV show. You want people to watch.
Absolutely.
Now, with that being said, I think that Zach Bagans has done a lot for the paranormal world just because of how they represent it and how they how they put it out there. They do have all these people from all over the world watching this show, so they must be doing something right. And they do capture real evidence.
Right.
Not all the time,
Right.
but and I believe they embellish a lot, and nobody can get possessed every episode.
Yeah.
Have you noticed their arc from the early to now, where they're much more respectful of what they do versus trying to go in and bully all the spirit stuff?
They are.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like they've been bitten. They have been smacked around by negative energy, and it's interesting to see their arc, and they're much more respectful, typically going forward. But yeah, they have introduced the world to the equipment and all that stuff.
Right.
Speaking of evidence, let's look at some of your evidence. All right, let's look, and I'm going to have Jason or Sean or whoever wants to be able to explain. We're going to see if I can get. Let's try this one right here.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
This was Sean's leg, wasn't it?
No, this is a clay
No,
house.
okay.
All right.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God, thank you. Hey, guys, this is a ghost. A real one, actually.
So what's going on here, Sean?
But now in the clay.
I mean,
I wasn't there.
Jason.
Jason.
Okay, this is what I was explaining earlier. We're getting two forms of evidence on the SLS camera and the REM pod. So you can see the REM pod sitting on the table.
Mhm.
That's us looking through the SLS camera, and you can see the spirit or the map there in the chair. So that is two forms of evidence, and you can see the spirit touch the REM pod on the SLS camera.
Which is
It
a
puts its hand
noise.
on there. It went on for like 9 minutes or so.
Now, why does it come as a stick figure? Why do they have to map it as a stick figure?
It's because it's mapping a different kind of energy, and it couldn't really show you a spirit. But what it's saying is that there's fluctuations in the atmosphere in that area, and they just they call it a spirit. And I agree with you. I wish it wasn't a stick figure. I wish it was a full body. You know what I mean?
Right.
But half the time you look at this and go, "Oh, that looks like crap." But if you were there when that one crawled up Sean's leg, you would think differently. You know what I mean?
There's
So
the room that you guys are filming in, and this is where the chair is, and this is where the figure is. And then you're asking to touch the REM pod, and it actually does with its elbow or its hand, right?
Yeah, and it puts its hand on there for a long time. Here in a minute or so,
there it is.
but I kept
There's
panning over.
There's intelligence there, right?
Right, it kept responding, and it kept panning over to the REM pod right there to show that there was nothing there. So nothing
the
can make that.
absence of any humans there.
Yeah.
You could have had the light on in there and it'd been okay. Or does this camera only work in dark?
That
It
one,
works both.
yeah, day or night. It's energy in the air, the SLS. So yeah, it's just mapping changes in the atmosphere, and that's why it gives us this. This was if you watch the Ghost Adventures, he was probably one of the first persons to bring out this SLS, structured light sensor, and it's not like a camera, but it maps out the difference in energy in the air and all that. It's how it functions, and it's a game changer, for guys like us.
And so, Sean, one of these is climbing up your leg, right?
Yeah.
Okay, not your favorite, right?
Yeah.
Poor Sean.
It was an experience. Let's put it that way.
Sounds like it. And that's why we're in it, because we enjoy the experiences, and hopefully they're good and making us think and learn and prove what's going on. So you guys don't always get little stick figures when you map an area, right?
Not always.
No.
It's not guaranteed, you know. It's like fishing. You could call it catching if it was guaranteed, but it's not. So we're hunting.
Somewhere. And we get any kind of activity.
Jason, so Jason, this is you narrating, right?
Yeah. That was during the open investigation. So there's people around too watching us do what we do.
So they're
And-
doing their own investigation. You guys are doing your investigation, right?
Yeah, they're just kind of following us around, and we're explaining to how our equipment works.
He's put his
And,
little stick hand on it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, interestingly, when I was in that basement and we were mapping these things, there was one that would just blew my mind. It was like a miniature wall sitting in front. And I put the camera on it, and you could see the stick man. He'd look out one side, come back in, then he'd stick his head out the other side and look. And this happened 4 or 5 times. And boy, that adds credence to what you're doing. You know what I mean? You go, oh, check this out.
But
So-
you can only get yes and no kind of answers from these, right? If it's something, touch this. I mean, how do you communicate besides, okay, I've seen it. Now, how do you know
Always.
what's going on? What's his
We just got two brand new Ovilus 5Bs in,
Ah.
and they really help a lot too as far as getting words and messages out. Sometimes it doesn't affiliate, but sometimes, you know, we just got a second one in yesterday, I think it was, and they're phenomenal. And there's like 50,000 words in it, so they're actually, if they know how to use it, which they do, they can really bring the question to us if they
How-
want. You know.
how does Spirit know how to use this stuff?
Guidance from someone's experience.
Yeah, that's a good question because I you know, they've always been able to. They've always screwed with the lights or you know, turn something off or on or, you know, and that's something that I find amazing myself. I just love to see it happen. Most people go, oh my God, there's a ghost, let's get scared. No. This is their power. And who knows how it works? I mean, when you can hold a 4-light unit in your hand and you tell them just like the green light and they do it, that's pretty powerful. You know what I mean? I mean, that's a good ability. So, I love it.
What location was this, Jason?
That is the Clayton House in Fort Smith, Arkansas.
All right,
Yeah,
so
it's a real
that-
old.
that's one of your, really cool ones. And we're going to now go to, there's an audio that, let's see here, if I can play this audio of when you walk in, it's very quiet, saying, I forget what it says.
Go away.
Go away.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
I'm going to play it, and I'm doing repeat on it. I try to increase it. So let's just see if I can get this going here. Here we go. Hang on here. It's like working the technology, and this is.
Is there anybody up here with us?
Go away.
Go away.
So what happened there? I just played it 3 times and tried to go away, go away. Where were you when all this is going on? Were you walking into a space?
Actually, we were at the Fee House in Little Rock, Arkansas, and we were up in the attic, and it was just me and another person that was assisting, and we're just doing a quick EVP session, and I went on just asking some questions, and if there's anybody up here with us, and I didn't hear until playback later on, but it clearly says go away.
And
there
you
was just 2 of us.
didn't get the message. It was like, she was
Yeah.
like, go away. You're like, no, you didn't get it. She was pissed.
It was cold, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
It was really nice.
Now, here's another bit of evidence here. Let's see here. Bing. Looks like somebody who was the photographer.
Me.
So
Mhm.
tell us what's going on. I try to line it up, as best as I can, even though it was not on a tripod. So
Yeah.
what is it that's going on here?
That's
Go
a
ahead,
full
Adam.
spectrum camera.
This was at the gates of hell,
Oh no, I hate that name.
Yeah.
which Jason had taken us to because he had known the background and had been there before. I had never been there.
Mhm.
And that night, particularly, we had used the Ovilus and had communication that told us to go away, to leave now. And it said evil several times and demons. It said there had been rumored I'll let Jason like reiterate what the past history of this location was, but there had been rumored of witch and cult activities there.
Mm-hmm.
Well known too.
And what made you decide to take photos? You didn't see that with your naked eye, but the camera picked up on it? What happened?
Plain picture.
Yeah, because it's pretty dark out there.
Yeah.
So you were just like, I'm gonna take some pictures. Boom, boom, boom.
Oh
And
yeah.
You weren't able to see this with your naked because it was too dark. And what is it that you guys are circling? What is it? It's just an energy that, or something that has moved a little bit, right?
Yeah, that's a standout. When you're looking out there, just snapping pictures. I've got the same thing in a graveyard picture, where we were just pointing in the dark and aiming, and that's about all you can do. And sure as life, when I started looking at them, I caught a full-fledged apparition that looks creepy. I still got the photo. I should send it to you later. But yeah, it's one of the best apparition photos, and I tell people, you're going to freak when you see it because it doesn't even look like a human face. It looks like he's wearing a potato sack mask or something. It's really creepy. But that's what happens when you're just in the dark. You're just aiming and shooting, and once in a while you get real lucky,
And
You go back and comb through it and you get a hidden gem.
Yeah.
So the question is this residual energy or is this an active spirit, do you think?
I feel like from the communication we received, it would have been an active spirit.
Yeah, I think so.
Say again?
I feel like from the communication we received, like the affirmation with the obelisk, that it was communicating as an intelligent haunting or an intelligent spirit.
You had the obelisk there at this location when you were.
Yes. Yeah.
And what was it saying?
It said evil, go away, demons, leave now. Yeah.
Okay, so it just didn't want you there. You felt like it was, you were in their space. They're trying to do whatever. Just think if you were there and you're trying to scare people, what would you say? Okay.
Something didn't want us there, yeah.
I'll say devil and they'll run.
Right.
Let's see if we've got some other evidence here. Let's see here. This one here, I want to, maybe, Jason, you need to tell us what's going on here. What's your...
Oh, yeah. That's the Clayton house. The same thing we were doing with the other SLS camera.
Oh,
but
this is the lights on, right?
Yeah, this is where the spirit would have been in that chair. Yeah, and then the REM pod right there. This was before we even started. I just sat down the REM pod and I was asking it questions because it was being active, and it lit it up when I asked it to.
So that means it was you already were picking up on active.
Yeah.
Were you asking questions or just watching it kind of like?
At first I was just watching it, and then I asked it to make it go off again, and it did. And so yes, you can see me or hear me ask the questions.
It's nice to see you all doing it in the light too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love it.
So there's that funny chair that's sticking. Oh, and that's what happens when you're in an open environment.
Yeah, that's radio. Keep going.
Well, it's nice. I like the way you all are, have, good job being very, respectful and polite. It's nice.
Yeah, there are people,
Oh, and you have people there too, so you had to be on your best behavior, right?
Yeah, I want to lead by example. I don't want to preach to anybody or tell them how to do it, but there's a right way and a wrong way. I strongly feel that, and I would be the first to say, I wouldn't do that if I were you. Because from experience, I can tell you it doesn't come out real good if you keep it up. But yeah, I agree. I love the communication part of it more than anything.
Let's see if we've got any questions for people who are viewing here. Let's see here. Oh, Carolyn says, cute dog. I guess that's for you, Grick.
My Yorkie. Yeah, she's a...
Let's see here. Everyone's like commenting, hello, how are you? So-and-so's watching. One, Elena Santos wants to know, can you tell me anything about my current pregnancy? Now that would be for, us. And one of my superpowers is I'm able to tell the sex of a child in vitro. It's like,
wow.
It's so crazy.
Oh.
That intense get me nothing, but it's kind of like a little parlor game.
What's your batting average on that one?
It's really high, which is kind of funny. I'm like, how can I do this? And the key is being a clairsentient, we sense and feel it. You also just know it just pops to my head.
Feminine or masculine energy,
Yeah,
maybe.
I just know it's a boy or girl.
Yeah.
Let's see. Carolyn says, my daughter is a witch and she's the kindest person ever, and that's maybe, I'm not sure the details on that. Let's see.
Probably what I was talking about earlier with people assuming that witches are all evil or whatever.
Well, yeah, because
Just another form of like a
I did a show.
Religion.
And healing.
I just did a show, this Psychic Mediums live show right before Halloween, and brought in my best friend who's also a priest. And we talked about the Witch of Endor, which is in the Bible, 1 Samuel, and she was just a psychic and medium. They just called her a witch back in the day. That was a fun show. Let's see. We've got Jerry. Can people? Let's see. I recently got into a relationship about can people like that each other with negative energies, or maybe some it's more of a psychic medium kind of. Let's see. We have. Okay, I started hearing messages from spirit when my son was born. I'm curious why this would happen. So she's obviously sensitive enough to be able to gather information.
Well, your senses are heightened when you're pregnant anyways. They're extremely heightened. All of your senses are.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Everything, your taste and your smell and your hearing and your skin, your emotions are extremely heightened when you're pregnant anyways.
It makes you more sensitive, and when you're more sensitive, you're able to pick up, especially if you have the ability to hear or sense or see.
Does that happen with my daughter, actually? The same thing that you just said, yeah.
All right. Let's see. Jason says, yes, check out our page, Night Terror Collective on Facebook. Make sure you guys join their page. And there are two of them. One's kind of like the one with the most people is the one you want to join, because that's our good thing. Let's
the other is business page, and then the group page. The business page is good because we can advertise for people too. Yeah. So.
Okay, cool. Let's see here. Do we have any other? Let's see. Have you ever heard of the show The Dead Files? They want to know, what do you think of The Dead Files, which has got,
Love it. Love Amy Allen.
My friend, I love
And the investigator, he is very top notch.
Yes. What they don't do is, it would be nice to have somebody who is the tech person with equipment, and the three of them together, that would be quite the little.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good way.
Well, I like Steve DeShalve on that show, and he gets information. And this is something Rhonda and I have done, where you go to the library or different places to try and gather up. It's always good if you know what you're running into before you get there, everything about it. And so Ron and I have done the same thing, where we go in there and we're looking for answers, and sometimes they're easy to find, sometimes they're not. But Steve, that man gets it all together like right now. And Amy is probably the most gifted medium that I've ever seen. She talks to the dead, and it's uncanny if you watch that show. I love it.
Right. I think it's one of the best. And
Kindred
Spirits is a show more oriented by people who do the work that you do, and then they bring in a psychic medium.
Right.
But their approach is really gentle, and they really and they say the ghost hunters oh yeah, we really want to help you, but ultimately in the show they never show that they really helped the people.
Right.
In fact, Kindred Spirits, they actually they use the equipment, they use the psychic medium to gather the information, and they actually do come up with solutions, which is kind of novel for TV. That's the way I work as well.
I like both of them also. The two people on that show, they're really awesome, I think.
Claudette from Hawaii says, besides getting evidence, does your team help living people to move the spirits on and do a clearing? Do you guys do clearings or anything like that?
Cleansings, yes. As far as moving a spirit on, I actually would like to learn more about how to do that. I think that I've researched, but I haven't actually taken that and put it into action. And I guess I would basically maybe more insight on actually seeing, or guidance on how to do that.
I'd be happy to take it offline and give you, conversation.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
Yeah.
Here. Are these spirits stuck here? Why have Mimi says, are spirits really stuck here, and why haven't they moved on? And we've talked about you know, we think maybe quote unquote stuck, or maybe they're just there when we're there. They're just they tend to hang. Who knows? And moving them on. I mean, I've certainly have tried, you know, and I've written about this one investigation I did where it was this African American man who was a slave, and he had kind of captured the energy and of the previous of his owner in the basement and his family above, and you know, kept that house super active. And,
Oh, wow.
and I wrote about that because I was like just going to have some fun and just kind of observe, but in fact I got into an unintentional cleansing of them by just counseling him, like, why the heck would you like to stay here, and, you know, and keep, you know, these people entombed, you know, I know you know, pissed off.
Would it be like spiritual bondage?
It's
Kind of.
really, it's like, and the people are like, what's his name? And I thought, I got Jacob. He's like, oh my God, that's the same name we got 10 years ago. We did the Ouija board. So, okay, we've got his name. Let's find out why the hell he's here. That's the most important, and how to move him on. And I think Jason is also of that, like, how can we help this as well? Let's see. People should always be respectful of spirits, says Carolyn. Okay.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And energy. Energy.
I think to be respectful of the living and the dead, right, Jason?
Yeah, you know, because like I said earlier, they're people. You know, treat them with respect. Just because they're dead, they're still people. You know.
I think they stay behind for a lot of reasons, though. You know, Jason. I mean, you know, whether it be they had unfinished business, or whether it be they just don't want to leave their family, or whether it be they want to pay someone back for something, good or bad.
Right.
There's countless reasons they stay behind, and what people don't understand is there's spirits everywhere. I don't care where you are, there are spirits. And, you know, we have two sayings. One of them is obviously, in the dark, you're never alone. And the other one is our favorite. It says, your nightmares are our pleasures. So we enjoy that.
Sean, you enjoy that, right?
Oh yeah.
I swear that he's got the coolest background. We've come up to about an hour and a half of chit chat, and so I just wanted to go ahead and close out and to remind everyone, how do they contact you guys, Jason? Is through your Facebook page, or do you have any other social media?
Actually, Rick, like Rick said earlier, we have two Facebook pages: business page, our group page. Please join the group page. We like you to join both, but the group page is where we post all of our content and live investigations. But then we have Instagram and Twitter, so we're on both those.
Oh, cool. Sounds like me. I've got Twitter and Instagram. Instagram is where I show, I do kind of more of my beekeeping work, because I'm a beekeeper. So that's, you know, it's all about images. And so I'll throw most of my images about beekeeping, and then I'll throw, you know, my psychic medium stuff out there too. And then Twitter is just, you know, you just have to have Twitter, right? And I've got a YouTube channel, which this show is going to be put on my YouTube channel, Kevin Paul Psychic Medium. And this will be, you know, people will be able to watch this they don't have to have a Facebook account. They can watch it when they Google. So that's the beauty of social media. And I also have a website, because I always say with Facebook, they could just all of a sudden turn your profile off if they want to, because this is their show. So I always say, I'm going to put my good stuff on YouTube. I'm also going to put on my website, because those are the areas that I control the most. But Facebook certainly is good, and certainly been helpful.
I know. Show it, baby. We want
Rick
to see it on
knows.
YouTube. That'd be great. What'd they do?
I said, Rick knows he's been put in Facebook jail before, so he knows.
I'm sure Sean has been very well behaved, but I bet you Rick got put in jail a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on right now. So my second 30-day stint. They really like me over there.
Well,
That's bad. I didn't even cuss.
Well, I want to thank you all for joining my Psychic Mediums live broadcast. It was great to get to know all of you all and understand what you do, and what your motivation is, what special talents you bring, and different perspective. Everyone, you know, enjoys that. Since we don't have our own TV show, we have to make up our own TV shows. This is the best we can do with video. But I really want to thank you all, Jason.
Thanks for having us.
Rick and Sean and Rhonda for joining me, and I'll be posting this on my YouTube channel and on my website as well. It's also going to be on our Facebook page.
Very cool.
So thank you all.
Thank you for having us.
Stay
Thank you.
safe.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed
Keep the good hot. Thanks,
Good
bud.
night, everybody.
Good night.
Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Keep rocking.
Take care.